my name's Chazz.
I'm Paul Furio.
And this is Cascade Improv Podcast. And for today, it's just the two of us.
You and I.
Just you and I.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited just to get some time on the mic, just to talk about who we are and what this is.
And improv, and our thoughts on improv, and
yeah, absolutely,
why we're doing what we're doing, and what we hope to accomplish and bring to you, the listeners.
Yeah. And so I think with that segue, for you, Paul, what is it that you like? Well, how about this? We're not even the podcast.
Yeah,
who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
Who am I? Why am I here? My backstory is I'm a New Yorker. I used to be Paul from Long Island, and I talk like this all the time. And my mother was a single mom. She was an art teacher who did faculty plays at her high school. So growing up, I was always being dragged to the elementary school to watch her do these rehearsals with other teachers for these okay scripts that she personally wrote that were based on whatever movie was popular at the time.
Perfect. And that's such classic good elementary teacher.
100%.
Of let's take something popular with the kids. Who needs to pay rights?
Right.
I'm just gonna make this.
It's parody. It's open. It's allowed.
Right.
It's
brilliant. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. And so she would do these things every year, and I would help out painting a set or whatever, and then I would help out videoing, and then by the time I was in high school, she would put me in a little bit part or something. So I wound up doing some theater in high school as well. Graduated, got a career in tech, had a career doing music, had a hobby doing music, and did some albums and stuff. But that acting itch was always there.
Yeah.
So I did an acting class right before COVID, which was tough. I liked it, but I didn't love it. It didn't scratch that itch that I kind of felt when I was in high school. And I think I called taking that acting class being a marionette. It felt like I was on strings. Like it was way too rigid and way too formalized and way too rehearsed, and I really wanted more of a challenge.
Yeah.
So some friends said oh, let's go see some improv. And I came to the Market Theater and saw some shows there, and of course they advertised does this look like fun? Well, we have a school.
Yeah.
And investigated a couple schools, and for whatever reason picked Unexpected Productions. And 2 years now I've been doing that. 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Yeah, 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So I'm a 50-something tech dude who got back into theater at middle age. And now here I am doing this podcast.
Yeah. And you said that you were a musician and you toured as a musician.
Technically, yes, I did tour as a musician twice.
Technically, yes.
There were one tour was a short tour around the Southwest, and the other tour was supposed to be a national tour, but the van died halfway through. Which was good because there were illicit substances on board the van from another band member, and I was very happy that we didn't have to pass through states in the South with that, because
that would have been tough.
I was concerned.
Yeah, that's real. And so, okay, so you got sort of your first taste of theater young from your mother, and really got some stage time in high school. And then coming back to it, you went back to acting. It didn't quite scratch the itch, so you found improv. You mentioned marionettes, and then and sort of that idea of being being controlled or structured by another person. And then I remember you also talking about being a musician and feeling like it was so rote.
Yeah. It felt like the very same experience, that it was so rehearsed that the first time I'm on stage as a musician or with a new band, it's oh, this is exciting. These are new songs. How's the audience going to react? Oh, great. But by the fourth or fifth time you do it, it's I found that I was of two minds. I'm kind of paying attention to, oh, here's the lyrics and here's the guitar chords and this is the way I'm strumming. But I'm also thinking like, oh gosh, I wonder, like, hopefully no one's walking off with my t-shirts from the merch table, or I hope the hotel room bed isn't too uncomfy tonight. And it's just like you get so muscle memory that it loses focus. Yeah. And I think one of the advantages of improv is just being really present. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, it rings so true for me as well, as someone who's been on stage for a while and done scripted work, and also
decades.
For a number of decades.
Yes.
Done scripted work and unscripted work, and so I feel that like the draw of being so in tune and so present with your scene partner or your audience or whatever. As I'm thinking about it, it harkens back to that idea of like giving to others is so rewarding for you, but you can't give to others because you want the reward. Yeah. Right? You like have to genuinely give to another person. Right? Yeah. Huh. And so then, so you came to the Market Theater, you saw some shows. What was it about improv in that moment that you were like, this, you know what? I want to give this a shot.
Part of it was just seeing how real things could be, even if they were, quote unquote, made up on the spot.
Yeah.
The very first show I saw at the Market Theater was a performance of Four of Hearts. And it had Belinda Wu, Mark Schoen, Jill Farris, and Obadiah Freeman.
Okay.
And Belinda and Jill were one couple. Mark and Obadiah were another couple. The structure for the show was two couples meet at a dinner party. There's some conflict, and then, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. And I believe it's based off of sort of like Edward Albee's work, like highly inspires it. So for those of you who are playwright fanatics or theater majors or theater minors, you may know the work of Edward Albee with Zoo Story, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. And it's really that sort of like postmodern American, like almost not quite Tom Stoppard's like American Gothic, but it has that like real like intensity of relationships and emotion.
It was an intense show.
Yeah.
I got choked up. I was like shocked. There were moments where I was like, wow, these arguments are like arguments I have had in relationships. This feels very, very real. So seeing that it was not the yuck type of stuff that we've talked about in previous podcasts, and there's a real depth here. There's a depth to the types of stories we can tell, what we can do, and that really drew me in. And then just seeing various different types of shows. I think the next couple of shows I saw were Kiss of a Killer, which is the noir show, and seeing multiple shows of that. Like, there's kind of a pattern, but here's how it's mixing and matching each time. That's really interesting. That combined with the like, I don't want to do necessarily this scripted thing. I want to try to scratch a different itch in my brain. I want to be creative, be thoughtful, be present, be in the moment. I think as a new improviser and someone who has just come out of the full run of classes at Unexpected Productions, the initial impulse is like, I'm going to get to be funny. It's going to be like, how clever can I be?
Yeah.
And with, the lens of time, seeing like, there's so many more interesting ways to be. There's so many more different ways to be creative. And that that's been really fulfilling.
Yeah. You have...
Yeah, we checked the yuck box. The other word I have to say on this podcast is zeitgeist.
Zeitgeist,
because I've said that twice.
All right, we'll get to zeitgeist
soon. At some point.
Yeah,
yes.
At some point.
Those two don't count.
Yeah, no, those don't. Absolutely not. Yeah. And so you have such a background as an artist, and I mean, just like being at your house, you have art around.
I do.
And you have, like, you grew up with a mother who was an artist, and you've been a musician for so long, and
that was 2.5 decades. Yeah.
Interested in theater and in improv now. what is it for you as an artist that like keeps you coming back? Because I mean, art is such a wide palette of different flavor profiles that some people are just like, yeah, I really like this, or I really like this, but not quite that.
Yeah.
So for you, like, if just looking at the different art that you've done in your life, like, what is it? What's the thing that like beats your heart?
Yeah. At the end of the day, for me personally, it is not feeling alone, and it is communicating to other people like you're not alone.
Yeah.
And I think we all have some desire to feel special, but at the same time, we all want to feel connected. And I think really great art lets people know you're not the only person to go through what you're going through. Someone else can relate, and that in itself is like a great feeling. And yes, the specifics of your situation may be unique to you, but like someone else has felt your joy, felt your pain, and come out the other side, or rejoiced and has been transformed or changed by it. A lot of the songs I wrote were about bad relationships or ex-girlfriends or current girlfriends or whatever it is, and it's not just, those weren't just songs about me saying like, oh, I'm getting laid, or like, oh, I've had this messed up relationship. It's like, I think other people have been, in relationships that went through some arc of like, this was wonderful, oh crap, and what a disaster. Or other, someone somewhere has been the person someone else had an affair with, and they will relate to that particular song. Someone somewhere has had their heart broken in way X, Y, or Z, and they will relate to that and not feel alone. So the intention for me for art is, what's the universality of human experience that is not the commonality of human experience, right? Like sitcoms are for that. Yeah. But art is for, oh, you've experienced something profound. You've gone through something intense, maybe intensely joyful, maybe intensely traumatic, but you've gone through something, and hey, you can relate to people. There's a way that you should relate to people that will make you feel connected and whole and not so fucking lonely.
Yeah. Ugh, I love that. I love that idea of that art, like just this continued repetition of art is just human, right? Art it's about people, it's for people.
Yeah.
And sort of this plea of it's about the relationship, it's about the relationship. And it reminds me of a Alden Alda quote of listening is the willingness to be changed. And just looking at, if art is about people and if listening is the willingness to be changed, then it really is like, to be an artist in, the lens that you've provided, being an artist is all about being able to listen to one another and share these like these secret little truths that are so universal and yet feel so private in a way. Yeah.
There's vulnerability there, right? Like when you're sharing a real truth, like there's always the fear, like, is this person going to judge me?
Yeah.
Like what, and doing that on stage, like having the ability to express those truths through another character, but still in front of an audience. Like there's a tremendous amount of vulnerability. Like great art comes from truth. Yeah. So there's probably some truth in things that is happening up there, but ooh, is that and that tension, like, is it going to be released as laughter? Is it going to be released as like tears, oohs and ahs? Like, what's it going to be? And then there's that communion in the audience. Yeah, and I think that's magic.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, I think that is the high that I chase.
Yeah,
as an artist and as an improviser, because I've been improvising with Unexpected Productions since 2009, and I've been practicing as an improviser since 2006. And the thing that keeps me coming back, like that the best bite of the meal for me is when I'm able to take that step of like pure risk and just say something that I'm like, this is so earnest and true and vulnerable, and it feels so big and scary to say. And I can't wait. And I kind of don't care about how the audience responds. And while Well, I can recognize that there's something about that feels like a little bit of like there's this flavor of like narcissism to that.
Yeah.
For me, the joy of it is knowing that like, yeah, I am comfortable enough with who I am to be able to like do those things. And hopefully what I would like is other people who are like, I could never do that, to be that example, and for them to go, that was cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I could do that. You know, and just that little step of like people just learning to like accept and love themselves for their imperfections.
Yeah.
Like that's it for me.
Yeah.
You know, and that draw and desire to just be like so vulnerable and so authentic and so raw.
And those are the things people will remember, right?
Yeah.
Like they'll remember this raw thing happened, and like that hit me, that touched me, that was relatable. Like they'll think about it a week later, a month later.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I still remember that show from nearly 3 years ago now, because it was January or February.
Yeah.
I guess 2022, 2023. Yeah, like I can still remember that show.
Yeah.
And like, because it hit me, it touched me. So yeah. Enough about me, Chazz Kaskes. You were my 400 teacher.
Yes.
Which I think was one of the most theory-based classes in the 100 through now 700.
Now 700, yeah.
Which, for those of you listening, is just level 1 through level 7.
Yeah, there's no 150 or anything like that. Yeah.
Level 156. Tonight we're going to learn about stepping forward across the stage. Why that class? Why that's the only class you teach?
Correct. Currently, that's the only class that I teach.
Tell us about that class and why you teach that particular class and what you think is so valuable about 400.
So when I got 400 as a teaching assignment, I had been teaching our level 200 courses.
Which is like Games Plus.
Games Plus. And when I asked originally, like, hey, why do we have 200 as our, like, why is games our second thing? Like, why is it, like, learn that improv isn't a bad thing and that it's not terribly scary, and then jump right into, like, really hoopy games?
Yeah.
And it was because, we're a theater sports company.
Yeah.
You know, we were the first theater sports company in America, and people would see that show, and when they come to take our classes, they expected, I want to learn the games of theater sports.
Yeah.
And that has like trended since we've been teaching classes. And I mean, as far as I have, gone back, that's sort of like why we teach that. And then by the time we get to 400, there really isn't any curriculum. And I learned from Ron. And Ron
Hippie, our first guest.
Yeah. So I learned from Ron Hippie, and an amazing, wonderful, intelligent, talented improviser.
He's not here anymore, you can be honest.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Anyway, yeah. That miserable. No, I'm kidding. No.
Ron's great.
The wonderful, he's such a font of knowledge and wisdom. Yeah. And he taught musical improv, was like part of what he taught in 400. And so when I got that assignment, I was like, okay, so like what is 400 and what's 300?
Yeah.
And I know what 500 is. And when I started teaching 500, we only had 100 through 500 at the time. And 500 was just whatever Randy wanted to teach, and it was oftentimes just like teaching the Herald as he learned it from Dell.
Randy Dixon,
yeah. And so I panicked and was like, I don't really know what it is. And so I built that curriculum.
It's a great curriculum.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I built that curriculum from the ground up, and in that, and so anyway, where the curriculum stands right now, to answer your question, is it's so heavy in theory because people are now just crossing their 1 year mark of learning improv.
Yeah.
And usually around 300 is when people who've like gotten what they want out of improv have gotten it.
Yeah.
And those who are like hungry for improv's sake are going to stick with it.
Yeah.
And I want to introduce them into there's a deep well. And I think there are some people who are also just enjoying the community of like friends. It's their bowling league.
Yeah.
And I also want to like kind of entice them a little bit of like, yeah. It's fun, but it's deeper.
Yeah.
There's a well here. Right. And so I really try and imbue the class with a lot of history of improv, utilize a lot of the different names, talk about sort of like how widespread improv is. And the curriculum that I've come up with is based on, it's 2 main units in our 8-week course. The first unit is on trust, and the second unit is on action. And my belief is there are so many things that get in the way of our trust. I mean, it's John Stone's inhibitions, right? Yeah. When he talks about why are we afraid to be properly spontaneous, he talks about the 3 inhibitions, which is the fear of being unfunny, he says the fear of being unoriginal, the fear of being crass, and the fear of looking insane. And it's like, if those are the things that keep us from really moving forward, then let's challenge those things. And I took some real deep time to like ask like how do I actually challenge people who, by and large, when I started teaching, I was usually the youngest person in the room. And so how do I come up to these professionals and say, I'm going to challenge your lived assumptions about how to be safe in community and in social settings. And so I really worked to figure out safe ways for us to challenge those assumptions. And so I got with these trusts. What can I trust? Trust myself, trust my scene partner, trust improv, trust my audience. And then once we've explored that, and really it's never a mastery, right? We're all learning how to master that. Once we've gotten through that, then it's, okay, now that we have that level of trust that we've built, and we now have these questions to look at of, why do I not trust myself? Why do I not trust my scene partner? Why do I not trust improv? Why don't I trust my audience? Then we can start looking at what are those North Stars?
Yeah.
How do we take action, right? Improv goes too fast for us to make it a formula.
Yeah.
And I think it robs it of its kind of the goodness when it's a formula. It becomes just juice concentrate instead of fresh squeeze.
Yeah.
And
it's sketch with different lines.
Yeah. Yes. Sketch with different lines. And so how do we preserve that? I want to act under best intention. I want to be a supportive player. I want to be someone who is able to see the scene in metaphorical ways and not just very literal ways, and so posing that. And so what is 400 for me and why is it so theory induced is because I love this art form in deep, deep ways. And I want, if I can make at least 3 people for every 12 people in a class also go, whoa, there's something more here. Yeah.
I very clearly remember a couple moments from the 400 class, specifically doing intimacy sprints.
Oh, yeah.
And just how I wound up becoming friends with the person I did intimacy sprints with, and I don't think we were very close before that. But just how vulnerable that felt. I think you touch on something which is interesting, which is there's comedy and or interest in conflict when 2 characters are conflicting on stage, and I think sort of your naive performers will dive right into conflict right off the bat, but you can't perform or improvise good conflict until you've established that trust with the other performer on stage. Yeah. Not necessarily the character, but like you have to really trust a performer to have that good conflict. And thinking back to like the really good scenes I've done where there's been conflict, it's like, oh yeah, I trust this person, they're going to follow, they're going to listen, they're going to make good offers back, I'm going to follow them. Great, we're going to do this little dance and it's going to be a wonderful scene, as opposed to the naive students who I fully understand improv at this point at level 400 and just like start out with just being belligerent or zany, and it's just like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, I really think that that's because improv is such it's so much younger. It's
Absolutely,
the younger sibling to so many art forms,
Sure.
and so we're just using their language. And so in that, we're using the language of playwrights and writers, and I think it gets misconstrued when we talk about conflict. Because as a writer, when you talk about conflict, like it means something different than in improv. Conflict is, what is the thing that's set before you that you need to overcome, right? Like, what's that meaningful thing?
Yep.
And I really think that conflict is just a different way of framing objective in core character objective relationship environment, or our Pacific Northwest favorite, Crow, character objective relationship and where, right? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Character relationship. Yeah. Okay, great.
You got it. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah. Oh, good. Thank God. And so I think it's just because we borrow language from other art forms, and so when people hear conflict, they think, "Oh, fighting."
Yeah.
And it's like, "Oh, no, it's dramatic conflict,"
right.
And it's a different thing. But when we were talking with Ron in episode 1, he was saying, "Well, improvisers these days aren't." They don't have that training as sort of stodgy actors anymore, and they're not directors often, and they and while maybe they had some theater experience in college or high school, that they haven't like sunk their teeth into writing so much that when we say what's the conflict of this scene, that there's that we have all the nuanced flavor profiles of what we mean as like playwrights.
Yeah.
And so instead, it becomes that simplification.
Yep.
And I think there's a lot of instances in improv where we're just borrowing language, and we don't have the full context for it. And so sometimes I think improv needs to have its own language, which is something that I think UCB has done a really nice job of, is just say like, no, we're going to come up with our own language, something totally different that's going to help inspire improvisers instead of borrowing from, our older siblings
sure.
art. Yeah.
It's interesting that you talk about improv as a young art, going back to the discussion about like being on marionette strings. I think it like doing it well requires a ton of maturity and a ton of. I think we spoke about this with the podcast we did with Audrey about like the high school students not having lived experience or world experience, but I think that there's if you are reading lines off of a script. And yes, you need to find that motivation, and you need to understand the objective of the character and dig down. But coming up with that on the fly and being able to draw from so many different things, it feels like there's a not an oldness, but a level of thoughtfulness, a level of maturity, a level of grasp to present that well.
Yeah,
and. I think it does it a disservice to say improv is looked down upon, maybe because of the whose line crowd or the yuck outlook on it. But it's so difficult to come up with a long form or even a very meaningful, intense short form in the theater sports format that covers so much nuance and so much subtlety and can really either make people laugh or tug at the heartstrings. And that's, there's a real skill there. Like there's an intense skill there.
I think back to a conversation I had with an old Seattle improviser. He's now down in Arizona. Wonderful performer. Jet City started a good while ago. I think he was either 14 or 17 when he started with Jet City.
Wow.
But Graham Downing, and anyone in the Seattle scene who'd been sort of improvising around him knows the name. An amazing improviser, so thoughtful, so insightful, and also willing to just play like such the dunce on stage in such like a warm way. I learned so much just getting to watch him and the few times that I got to play with him. And yeah, just an incredible improviser, and what a loss for Seattle when he moved. But Graham and I were talking, and he mentioned the moment he could first beautiful mind a scene where like all of a sudden it was like time stopped and it's just like all the offers were present for him.
Right.
And then I was in Amsterdam watching The Flock, which is with Laura and Perry Dorweden, and they were doing an improvised Miyazaki show, which was just heartwarming. And I was hanging out with the cast afterwards, chit-chatting, and I talked with one of the performers. I think her name is Tannen. And she we were talking, and I was just like, oh my god, that was amazing, blah blah blah. And they were like, oh yeah, we've been doing improv for like 2 years. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
You are that's incredible. The work you did was just mind-blowing. Wow. And she turns to me in this like sobered moment, and she goes, is it true that you don't learn how to do improv for 7 years?
Yeah, Toots. You need to put in 5 more until you're good.
I mean, and I was just like beside myself. I was like, what is that? What does that mean? And I was like, I mean, I don't know. It feels pretty subjective to me.
That's so like a man must walk down how many river paths before he finds himself.
I know, right?
You must flop on 20 stages before you truly understand improv.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably a metric there, actually. How many shit scenes do you have to do before you get it? Yeah. But I think that goes back to what you're saying. I mean, what a tangent to go around. But I mean, kind of goes back to this idea of like, yeah, there's maturity.
Yeah.
And I think there's a certain amount of clock that you have to put on stage.
It's a muscle. Yeah, it's a muscle you have to exercise.
Yeah, and just to have that awareness of like, oh yeah, in the moment, I can do all these things immediately, instinctually, right?
Yeah.
You know, because it's not, and I think that's such a like a tricky thing to deal with, is the difference between what am I doing on stage versus how am I reacting on stage.
Yeah.
And I really think that that's where that 7-year divide kind of happens, is this experience of, oh yeah, improv is slowed down enough to where I'm just authentically reacting to what's happening.
Yeah.
I'm just listening. The action I'm doing is listening, and then there's so many options before me.
Yeah.
And I just get to instead be a gracious farmer in harvest, going, oh, this fruit's ready, and this fruit's ready. And I think before that, it's so hard to really see the nuanced difference of what are the choices that I'm making. And I want to underline this idea of making versus what are the choices before me.
Yeah.
And just saying like, oh, this one's ripe. And maybe being able to pass another choice and be like, not ripe yet, but I'll do another pass around. And maybe when I come back around, it'll be ready then.
I think that's a good call out for a pivot from a beginning improviser to a improviser who's further along the path is, you know, I very distinctly remember, and even talking to other students in 100, 200, like, oh, I'm worried I'm not going to be clever fast enough. And it's like, oh, now with the lens of hindsight, it's like, yeah, it's not about being clever fast. It's like, take your time. Like you You don't have to say the first witty retort that comes to mind in response. Sure, they're good for a chuckle, but like great scenes are, sometimes you just sit in silence for a couple seconds. Sometimes you just react. Sometimes you're walking across the stage and pouring yourself a glass of water, and that in itself is like an offer to your scene partner for something. So, hopefully in 5 more years I'll learn that. You joined the troupe at 19.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes. I was a young buck.
What was it like being not able to drink but allowed to come into the theater?
I had my first drink in the old bar at Unexpected Productions.
The one that was in, what's the elevator lobby?
The elevator lobby now. Yeah, that was our little speakeasy. And God, I loved that little space. And I had my first drink on my 21st birthday.
Of course.
Susie Simpkins bought me,
bless her heart,
PBR and a shot of whiskey.
PBR, huh?
No. Sorry, it was a Manny's, I think. It was a Manny's and a shot of whiskey.
Local hero.
Local hero, right? Yeah. I did so much growing up, and UP has been part of my life since I was 16.
Were you in the Hogan Cup?
I started in the Hogan Cup.
Oh, just like Audrey.
Yeah. I started in the Hogan Cup. Michael White was my very first teacher, and he was, God, I miss that improviser. He was just such a loose cannon, and while he had sort of this like reputation of being someone who would enter every scene, and there'd be people who'd be like, "Oh my God, Michael's in that scene again," you know? But he was so playful and had such a willingness to just be. He just wanted to be in the scenes, and he'd be background environment, and always had just some idea that he wanted to just like help out with, and like that sense of playfulness was just so pervasive. But he was one of the founding members of a group called Blood Squad, which is still a group that performs. That's Brandon Felker, that's Alicia Wickstead, and was Michael White. They were the founding members. Michael has since stepped away from improv, and then they had a handful of performers such as Graham Downing, but they also had Molly Arkin, and then her husband Adam Excel joined, and so now it's the 4 of them. Molly and Adam live down in LA these days, but they'll come up every once in a while to come do a Blood Squad show. Nice. I believe they have one coming at the end of October. Coming up, and it always sells out. They're so fun. It's such a great show. They do horror improv, and Michael was just. He was so vibrant in just the physical work that he would do, and just like the way he would describe just these like horror scenes, and it was like he was so viscerally part of improv, and I think that was something that I really, really benefited from. And I remember my old improv team, my high school improv team, Michael taught us. It was this idea of honor the truth and honor the reality. And what he had said was, if you're at a campfire and you accidentally, like, you don't realize the campfire's there and you step in it, right? Don't just like look down and be glib about it. Don't just be like, oh my God, I stepped in the campfire. Right. Oh wow, I'm immolating right now. No, I'm burning. Right. He's like, no. I want you to scream bloody murder as you're dying from this fire. Right. I want to see the pain. He goes, I want you to suffer more. And that became this like my high school team. That was like our like mantra was suffer more. Right.
Perfect.
And then I had Ron Hippie as my next Hogan Cup teacher. Yep.
They've come full circle.
I know. And then later had him as my 400 level instructor. But yeah, so improv and unexpected, the teaching of UP for me as an artist was just so infused with like who I was like coming into adulthood. Yeah. And I genuinely don't know who I would be without improv because it's been so infused to who I am.
Making danishes in Bothell.
That's right, making danishes and donuts in good old Bothell, Washington with the Hillcrest Bakery, baby. was just loved it. Took the classes. Jill Ferris was my very first 100 level, or it was my 100 level teacher.
Yeah.
And when auditions came around, I was in my second round of 500. And because then we only had 1 through 5, and it was meant to be a 2-year program, and it was supposed to be 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 500, 500, 500, and 500 was whatever Randy Dixon was hoping to teach.
Yeah.
Just whatever was on his mind.
Yeah. Interesting.
And so I was on my second round of 200 or of 500, and auditions came up.
Yeah.
And while I'd been doing improv for a while, I'd never auditioned for improv.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was to audition for improv, really.
Yeah.
And so I was like...
You'd done scripted theater. You'd auditioned for that before.
Of course. Yeah. So I'd been a scripted actor in high school and in college, and had known, like I had my contrasting monologues that I had, in a classic piece, and I had I was going to vocal lessons, and I had my song that I would be able to sing, a couple of those that I could, the 16 bars for an audition, I had all those things. So I knew what to expect for an audition, but I was like, what the heck am I supposed to do for improv?
Yeah.
And I just wanted to do these improv auditions so I knew what it was, so I could prepare for it next time.
Right.
And I got cast, and I didn't learn until way, way, way later. Jay Hitt, who's our managing director at Unexpected Productions, Jay Hitt had told me that apparently he wanted me and another improviser, and Randy did not want those 2 improvisers, but he wanted 2 of his own improvisers that Jay did not want. And the 2 of them bickered back and forth, and finally the agreement was this sort of salty, all right, well, if you get yours, I'll get mine. I remember hearing that and being like, you mean Dad didn't want me?
You're a diversity hire.
I do not think I am a diversity hire. Yeah, we need more young, white, straight men in improv.
Right. Pretty, too, because there's not enough of those.
Yes, for whatever modicum that is. And so, got into improv, and it was... it was so exciting. I was so nervous. I was so young. I respect Randy's decision for not wanting to have me, because I now look back and I was like, I don't think I was ready for that. I think there's a lot of things that I missed as a young improviser that I never got, because I just got right onto this company who had so much opportunity to play, and then there were so many veterans of improv there, and people who'd been doing it for since the 90s, and had 10, 15 years of improv experience, and I was on months or years of improv experience, and I was treated like I was sort of the young kid who needed to prove themselves, and I think that it built me into the improviser that I am, for better or for worse. It taught me a lot of things, and there was a little bit of boys club there.
It's interesting that you say that. My day job is people manager.
Yeah.
And I was just having a discussion with one of my direct reports about moving forward with something and not being 100% sure. Don't wait till you're 100% sure. Wait till you're 70% sure.
Yeah.
So I think what's more important for something like this is curiosity, willingness to learn, kind of aptitude to grow and just try new things. So for you to say they probably should have waited on me. They clearly shouldn't have. You're technical director of the theater. You teach a high level course. You're deeply involved in some incredible shows that are there. You're doing this thing, and this is not me blowing smoke up your ass. This is you genuinely showed some aspects that Jay, maybe not Randy for whatever reason, but Jay saw. I don't think there's a single person in the theater who would say today oh man, I wish Chazz wasn't here. It's
thank you.
It's there's these, and I look, by relation, I look at other improvisers who are very, very good, or student improvisers who are very, very good, and that, you know, I'm pulling for in the next round, or are in troops now, and I see their work, and it's like, yeah, they could basically go wherever they want. They could do whatever they want, and they have the same characteristics. They're hungry. They're curious. They're always improving. Maybe they think they have some limitations, but they're always working and seeking feedback. You know, I think of like two I'll just name off the top of my head: Thomas Corey and Faith Perinaud. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. But like two improvisers who are just curious and willing to try things, and just are moving at some upward rate that is kind of astounding to me. I think that curiosity, I think that that openness is much more important than like, oh, I've been doing this for 10 years, so clearly I'm an expert now and I'm due. There's no I'm due. It's like, are you good? Do you listen? Are you an excellent improviser because you're there and you're present, you're putting in the effort?
One of the things that I look back on and I miss that I didn't get was that time where I had to make my own indie group, because there was no improv. Like, I'd done the classes, and I was
you didn't have your own troupe before you joined Unexpected Productions.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
You fucked up.
Yeah. Well, you know, I sometimes feel that way because I never did get that experience of like, we have to make our own rehearsals. And we have to find a place for our rehearsals. And what do we do when we get through that valley of all our friends came to see our show, and now we've got all this time where we're still doing shows, and will we push through, or will it dissolve? And that frustration of people just not committing to the thing that you're interested in, or having artistic disagreements with somebody, you know, and then having to like find a venue and book those dates and advertise for your show, and realize like, oh my God, we put in $150 into this, and we're 22, and this is a panic, and only 4 people showed up. What are we doing? You know, and like that, like, I think there's something of a crucible in that's the experience that I never got as a young improviser, that now as a teacher and someone who's been doing it for, you know, for a little while now, I'm going on 16 years at the end of October with Unexpected, that I wish that when someone says, what's my next steps? I wish I had more tangible things rather than, well, here's what I think you should do. Here's what I've seen other people do. You know, and I can talk with some confidence about that, but it isn't the level of experience that I wish I had.
I had the equivalent experience as a young musician. Like, oh, okay, all my friends are going to show up, but how many of my shows are they going to show up to? And you know, are new people going to show up and actually buy the fucking merch that I shelled out for? That's sitting in a box here, because that's how I really make my money. I think there's no one tried and true path, right? Because if there was, everyone would follow it. And I think for this type of stuff, it's, you still are in troops. You're still in Brothers Falstaff. You're a regular with No Strings Attached. I'm sure there's other things that you're doing that are not coming to mind for me. Feel free to plug them. But
Clergy of Airs.
Oh yeah, Clergy of Airs. How could I forget that?
My improv group. You can see us at Renaissance fairs in the Pacific Northwest.
I have your pin.
Yeah. There we go.
There's a memorable show.
Then you weren't drinking.
It's great.
Enough.
You should see it. I mean that sincerely. But yeah, like you've gotten that experience just later. But the fact of the matter is, there's no there's no clear stepping path to like, well, what is bigger, what is there? Like in Seattle, I think Unexpected Productions is kind of the pinnacle of improvised theater in this big small city, or small big city. I'm not sure which one we are anymore. And you know, where to go from there? Well, I mean, just like where can we go from there in the United States or in media? Like, what's the next step? SNL?
What a jump. Right. Well, and that's something that's so interesting about the Seattle scene, is that when you do get onto the company at Unexpected Productions, when you do get onto the company at Jet City, Comedy Sports, Bandit, that like you no longer have to make your shows.
Yeah.
You're now a regular ensemble member, and that advertising is by and large, I mean, it may be asked of you, but it's happening for you as well.
There's support.
There's support around
there's
that.
Kent Whipple. There's other people at the theater whose names escape me who are doing social media.
Yeah.
Is it Simone still
Simone,
doing?
yeah. Simone's still doing it.
Yeah. So there's a support. People still put on their ensemble members who are still creating and directing their own shows.
Yeah.
So we have Poe from that. We have all the amazing shows by Tim
Harahan. Yeah. We've got Tim Harahan. Tony Beeman's doing a lot of shows, and we've got things from Janine Clark.
Yep.
We've got things from Liz Bramer.
Right.
And I mean, just Paul Levy does shows. Ron is directing musical shows all the time.
Dan Hoslins is doing a Rocky Horror Improv show right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
there's still people putting on shows, but you're right. There's a support network, and it's not as risky as, hey, here's 6 of us meeting in a basement for every Thursday or Sunday for like 3 months straight, and then we have a show. Will at least 15 people show up?
Yeah, and I think you're right. Once you get onto an ensemble, you kind of hit the top of the food chain.
Yeah,
and the only thing else to do is move. And I think that's something that affects the Seattle improv scene a lot, is the people who are really serious decide, I'm heading to LA, I'm heading to Chicago, right? Or, there's a lot of us who get complacent.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of us who also just continue to be excited and hungry to like make the next thing, but like what does it practically yield? Because it's oftentimes not rent.
Yeah, right. Right. What? $20 a show doesn't pay your rent? What are you talking about?
Right? Crazy.
Do you think we need a new version or an alternate version of Almost Live?
I think we need an alternate version or a new version of Almost Live. I think I would love to see a space where performers get to be paid a living wage.
Yeah.
I think that would make the Seattle scene hungry.
Yeah.
And I worry about what sort of competition that would breed.
That was my immediate first thought.
Yeah.
Right. Like what kind of backstabbing will come out of that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, for people who are not familiar, Almost Live was a television show that was popular in the 90s and early 2000s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know it was still on the air when I moved here in 99. And I remember watching it right after SNL and thinking, like, what the hell is this? Oh, it's Seattle Dancer. Great. Funny show with funny people. And I've met a few of the performers on there through corporate gigs. But yeah, it was like real exposure. Like it was beamed to your house on your television. So you didn't have to come to a theater.
Yeah.
There was local comedy on your TV.
And I think that's something that I really miss in just art around, is this hyper. There's a term that gets thrown around in some of the improv circles that I'm in, which is the McDonaldization of improv, or of shows. Yeah. Where it's I don't want to go see art, but I want to go see Broadway.
Yeah.
I don't want to see movies, but I want to subscribe to Netflix.
Yeah.
Right? And it's this idea of there's entertainment has now become so commercialized and commodified.
Yeah.
And I think the lovely thing about Almost Live is that it was comedy for your neighbors, by your neighbors.
Yeah.
Like it was just things about Ballard.
Right.
It was things about Renton.
Yep.
And
even as a new person moving here, I was like, is that what Ballard's like? Is that what Renton's like? I should go there and see what it's really like. So there was this, not only the in jokes that I kind of half got because I was new here, but it was like, okay, I want to explore this city more because these people are making fun of it or that. Like, how charming, how wonderful.
Yeah, right? Like old Vern Funk commercials. you know?
I'd forgotten about those.
Oh yeah, I was in a few Vern Font commercials.
Honk for Vonk. Oh, now I'm gonna go look them up.
Oh
now
god,
I'm gonna look them up.
I played a brony. A few different things.
Perfect.
Yeah, Joe Conan and I were were in those. A few other improvisers.
I'm sure they're all on YouTube.
They're wild. Yeah.
Wow.
But I think that and that goes back to something that I really love that Paul Sills was working on as an improviser, was this idea of improv theaters should be there should be a theater for every neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that you should be able to go and see the mail carrier and your electrician that just worked on your house talk about why 1413's rhododendrons are always spilling over into they do theater about that, and it's about things that like we all know, and it's so community oriented, and it brings us all together. And I think that's something for me while I love the art that I do for vulnerability and like authenticity and all that stuff. Like I like the feeling of it, but beyond that, the cultural phenomena that I like about it is how we all get to come together and see something that's our in-joke and that isn't exclusive, but we all get to look in and say like, yeah, this is my city. Yeah. Instead of going to, SNL and being like, oh yeah, this is something that is sort of a loose touchstone for America. Right. And like they're trying to make sure they hold that, kind of national, if not global audience of like things that are funny to everyone. Yep. But it's like, well, why can't it just be things that are funny to us? And even then, like you see SNL, and every once in a while they do a show or a skit that's specific about New York, right? And also on the West Coast, I'm like, right, funny, right? I guess I get it. Yeah, you're New York dance clubs. Yep. Yeah.
As a New Yorker, like there are a lot of things there that okay, this is relatable, or I get this when I live there. I think one of the traps that they fall into is that New Yorkers forget that there's a world outside New York.
Sure. And like, I don't think that's a bad thing. No. Yeah.
Yeah. If those sketches were regional sketches, like, great. I would love to see something more spread out among the Seattle populace. We have 1 million people here. Yeah. And we can poke fun at Spokane. We can poke fun at Tacoma.
Yeah. We can talk about how when people visit Seattle, they say, I'm taking a day trip to Sequim, right? Like, just like the way we gotta love on people by just kind of gently teasing and such.
The Pacific Northwest is not the only part of this country with unpronounceable city names, I assure you. In both Massachusetts and New York, we had plenty of unpronounceable names or town names that very much indicated you were not a local.
Yeah, right.
Ronkonkoma? Is that really a town? Ronkonkoma? What is that?
Oh, and so you've been doing improv for 2.5 years, and
I hate it.
And boy, are my arms tired.
Yes, I started going to the theater about just shy of 3 years ago, and I started taking classes about 4 or 5 months after that. So 2.5 years.
And so I'd just love to know from someone who has such a different lens onto the improv scene currently, because I come to it with,
decades of experience.
Well, just history. Yeah. So when I see certain things happen, I come at it with like this, like, oh, well, that's because of this, and this, which colors my own vision. So I'd love to know, like, what is it for you that you love about the Seattle improv scene? What's unique, and what's your vantage on the landscape of Seattle? Which I know is like a lot of questions at once.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I haven't been to a lot of other shows. I've been to a few around Seattle. Some one-offs or some small productions. So it's tough for me to speak of things outside of unexpected productions. I've had student friends perform in other shows, which have actually been great. I've seen some other students perform in some other local shows, and some of the UP students were like the best parts of those shows, which is like, oh, okay, it gives me some insight into how different schools are teaching different aspects of improvising and listening and what they're focusing on.
I think part of it, and once again, I'll be a little political here, just because I love the entirety of the improv scene, and also I am sort of this like a bit of a representation of like what it is to be UP, and UP being the longest running show in Seattle. Like I think sometimes we get dogpiled against because it feels like we have a bit of like more of an institution, and there's a little bit more pretentiousness, and I want to like dissuade some of that, because I think when you say like, oh yeah, some of the UP students are like some of the best parts, I think it is because like we have such a flavor, and it matches our flavor, and also because our class is 1 through 700, I think there's just more time for students to be in the classroom learning, for better or for worse, right? For better, that they get more time to like train and learn, and for worse, that I think there is this narrative around town that UP is just hungry for like people to like stay in classes longer. And I don't, knowing Jill and knowing Jay, that's not the aim, but there are people who go, well, where do I go from here? We want more, and I don't want to keep taking 600. So what else? They go, well, we'll open up 700 now. And then, people outside are like, oh, they're just hungry for money, but it is that amount of time just in the classroom with people who have more experience.
So there's a familiarity aspect with what I'm seeing students who've come through Unexpected Productions.
Because there are some amazing students who I see from Jet City, and I see from Comedy Sports, and I see from Bandit. It's just such like a lovely wealth of like experience and different vantages, and like it's so fun when they come to duos, and just see like what they bring.
There was a woman who is when I auditioned for Up, did not get in. But one of the women who was in my foursome who got up on stage was a Jet City person. She was amazing. She blew me away, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, she might get it. I won't. Great. So, I think there's an expectation, having been through UP and seeing what they see, to like gravitate towards like, oh, I like this style.
Yeah.
I should get out and see more improv. I've seen improv around the Pacific Northwest. I've seen it up in Bellingham. I've seen it in which was amusing. Some interesting student shows up in Victoria. Comedy Sports down in Portland. So like enough of, and some East Side troops. Enough of the local area Pacific Northwest improv to get a sense of what I personally like and don't like. And even in Seattle, there's some shows that are great. There's some shows that are not so great. And that's just what it is.
Well, that's improv, right?
Yeah, right.
There are some things that hit and some things that don't. And like,
I've seen some theater sports shows that were really not so great.
Trash.
And that happens.
I performed some theater sports shows that I get done with, and I'm like, that was trash. What was I doing?
But to your question of, what was it? It was perspective. It was what was the first part of it?
I'd love to know what keeps you coming back to improv.
So watching it, I've been kind of forced to watch it because I work the tech booth. So doing lights and
forced or paid to watch it, come on.
It just goes right back to the bar.
So you are an improviser.
Yep, I sure am. What keeps me coming back is seeing something new, seeing something interesting, seeing people who are very, very, very talented. And I go to duos a bunch, not just perform at duos, although it seems like when I show up just to watch, like someone's like, oh, you're here, I don't have a partner, hop up. Okay, for sure, fine, great, happy to.
Yeah, and duos is our open mic night.
Every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Yep, every Wednesday, 8 p.m. down at the Market Theater. And it's been going on for 12, 13 years now.
Yeah. Shannon Bass runs it. She's amazing.
Yeah, and
rotating hosts.
Anyone can show up.
Any level of experience.
You get you either come with a partner, or sometimes you just get blind dated with someone, and you just get 5-ish minutes on stage to just play.
Jeff puts a clock at 7.
At 7?
So you get 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Roughly.
Yeah.
And if it's going well, he'll sometimes give you some more time. But what keeps me coming back is there's a charm, there's a uniqueness, there's something will inevitably be surprising.
Yeah.
Surprising and relatable. And it's magic. I think I mentioned this in a previous podcast, but what speaks to me about improv is you're creating a story for an audience member or a set of audience members, and yes, the whole group that there gets to see it and enjoy it that night, and it will never be seen again. But the initial kickoff is like something from some person. So when someone asks me like, "Oh, we're gonna do a scene," like give me an object, I'm like, okay, like that's a fine thing to kick off a scene. But when someone says like, tell me a little story, or what's something your grandmother used to say that like stuck with you as an adult, or some advice like, oh, some audience member is sharing something that potentially is very memorable or very personal to them. And the fact that gets turned into a 5-minute scene, a 7-minute scene, like, oh, that is that connection that we talked about at the top of the podcast. They are connecting with this person. They are showing them something. Your experience of your grandmother saying, "Be true to your teeth when you're young, or they'll be false to you when you're older." Like, great. There's a whole thing that will be like, oh, now that person is probably filled with nostalgia or sadness or happiness or joy or good memories or whatever it is. Like you have connected, and those are the amazing things.
Yeah.
When someone on stage paints a picture that connects with an audience members or a set of audience members, like that is magic. That is magic in a way that politicians use for like good or nefarious purposes, but artists will use to hopefully enlighten or make someone feel like I belong here, and that's okay.
Yeah, I love that how personal improv is.
Yeah,
I was just this last weekend. I was in Montana doing improv at a Ren Fair with Clergy of Errors, and it was raining all weekend, which is my favorite thing for outdoor theater.
Sure. Because it's usually just a stage with no roof.
Oh yeah. And actually, even worse was we got a little tent that we were performing under, and the audience did not have that. There was one show that we were doing where I was watching the rain go just like pour harder throughout the whole show. I don't think I've done a faster show in my life. Like, I felt like every scene, like I ended the scene like an apology.
Right.
Just like, all right, and okay, let's get out of here. And like, it's a Ren Fair, so we're like, we've got our tip line, and we're like, well, thank you so much. This is our day job. If you liked what we had, please, put a tip in the hat. And it's just like, I'm like, yeah, if you enjoyed if you're sticking around, if you could put a tip. I'm so sorry. I'll pay you to be at this show. You stuck around. You're a trooper, my guy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Folgers coffee can is slowly like topping off with water.
I know, right? Watching a dollar bill float to the top. Just like, Jesus. And so, but we did. It was our last show of the Saturday. We did 3 shows a day, and it was Saturday night. We did our last show, and it was just cold and miserable. And one of the other booths, there were a 3D printed like D&D terrain booth, and they brought a heater.
Oh.
And they had this like, outdoor, little propane heater, or, this kind of big propane heater. And the people were gathering around it, just like warming up. And so I was like, well, let's see if we can't get an audience. And I had one of my performers, I was like, hey, Dan, why don't you go over there and ask them, like, do you want to ask them, like, hey, if we do a show, would you mind coming over and just enjoying the show if you're interested? But if we don't get an audience, we'll come over to you. And I don't want to, the last thing I want to do is like, you want to come see my improv show?
Right.
Don't worry, it'll come to you. drive people away from the heater.
Can you smell the desperation?
Yeah, right.
Smells like dragon's breath.
So I was like, yeah, let's ask them, like, are they cool with that? And so, the joust had gotten out. No one's around.
Right.
And so no audience member shows up. So I wander over and I was like, hey, I know Dan had asked you guys cool. Like, you could totally say no. We'll just like, hey, if we pack up our day early, no skin off my neck.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, no, we'd love to. We're just really cold. And I was like, okay. And so we did this little show just for 7 people right there.
Oh.
And it kind of felt like doing up close magic in a way. Just like
yeah.
watching them like they were so close, and it was such a moment of magic. And we were asking, like, I'd like point at one person and be like, hey, what was like a thing that like your mother told you growing up, or you learned from like a caregiver, and getting them like, oh, I don't know, and everyone sort of like looks at each other, and it's that uncomfortable, like, I don't know, well, I guess I don't know, like, don't talk to strangers, like, oh, okay, fine. And then someone else would be like, well, my mom always said, and be like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, great, let's do that. And now they're so invested in this scene that's like really so tailored for them.
Yeah. And they're right there.
Yeah. And to your point, like, that's something that no other art form can do, is take something that happens this moment and say, hey, we're going to make a piece of art for you right now.
Yeah.
And no matter how silly or cringy or profound or dramatic it is, that audience member who got to say something personal, not just what's a room in the house, but was there a room in the house that you have a memory from growing up?
Yeah.
What was that room? What was the memory? And then take that.
Yeah.
That's profound.
Yeah.
That's where we really do this work of bringing an audience in and making them part of, making them a performer. And also you have the added benefit of, when I ask you, what is a memory that you have in a room in the house you grew up with, everyone else goes, I have something. And now you've got full audience buy-in. Right. I mean, by and large, certainly more than, what's something that fits in a bread box?
Right.
That's not bread.
Right.
Yeah.
Do a scene about a dildo. Yeah. Again. Okay, great.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned up close magic. To the chagrin of several of my ex-girlfriends. I'm a little bit of a fan of magic, and I really like Penn and Teller because they show how the trick is done.
Yeah.
And in that you get to appreciate it in the sense of like, oh, I can see how much skill goes into this. Not like, oh, you ruined it because I get the gimmick, but it's like, oh no, this actually takes a lot of talent and expertise.
Yeah.
And I think you're right to call out improv as up close magic because everything is on display. Like the whole trick of, here's a story, we're building it as we go, we're relating to each other, we're finding it together. Like the whole thing is laid out right there on the stage. There's no one magically off stage, like speaking into an earpiece saying like, now say this. Yeah. That'll be funny. Look at your partner. Like it doesn't happen. It's just happening there. And it is magic. It's magical.
And I think that's where, for me, this idea, this very pervasive and prevalent and popular idea of improv, of it being comedy, which I don't disagree with. I'm sure there's plenty of my students who are like, oh, Chazz, you really poo-pooed on comedy. It's like, well, no, because that's what we always come into our improv shows with, is like, or our improv scenes with, is like, it has to be funny. Yeah. And it's like, no, it does not have to be funny, but oftentimes it is. Yeah. And it's, Sharna's Truth in Comedy. Yeah. It's this idea of like, life is just funny on its own. We don't have to make it funny. But I am a little disillusioned, and I get a little maybe tired of this plea that improv should be fast, funny, and clever. Yeah. And I think it's that cleverness where it really feels like the improviser just wants to show off to the audience.
Yeah.
And they think that the amount of trivia I have and the amount I've read up
Yeah.
that's what makes me a worthwhile person to watch.
Sure.
Instead of just the fact that I am me and
Yeah.
I have my own perspective, that makes it worthwhile. And while, yeah, we can put on all those dustings of, trained actor, and I have a stage presence, and yes, I do know all these things, and I can make all these really, really clever, unique connections, and I do think that makes for a really good show. I really hate the idea that that's what makes an improv show, and everything else is just like kind of bad improv.
Yeah.
When it is your friends and your neighbors. Because going back to when we were talking with Audrey, and like high schoolers, yeah, they don't have all that context. But boy, they make some joke about what's happening at their high school, and everyone just laughs and loves it. And it's because it's their friends.
Yeah. And it's relatable and it feels connected.
Yeah.
Because it's their friends.
It's back to that, well, do we want an almost live?
Right.
Well, I want community.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, I get worried about that pushing improv into like, well, it has to be fast, it has to be clever, it should be polished.
Yeah.
And I think really now that I'm talking through it, it's that I'm coming back to sort of my like distaste for polish and improv.
Yeah.
Like
when Patty Stiles did that show with the other
Joe Bills
here in Seattle as part of the Festival Unexpected. And it was this lovely 2-person long form where they were a couple, and it was very banal. The offer, I think, was like a talking fish. So eventually, Joe Bills got around to like, I met this fish and he talked to me. But like the first 10, 15 minutes of the scene was just, where have you been? Get me a beer.
Yeah.
And there's so much charm in just that ordinariness.
Yeah.
And it's so relatable in that, like, who hasn't had a conversation of, oh, my partner just came home, tell me about your day, what's going on, oh, what's bothering you? Like, there's humor and there's relatability and there's just comfort in that area. And it's glorious to watch. It doesn't have to be, King of Queens and we're gonna insult each other and back and forth and all the jokes. Just the fact that it is believable, and within 30 seconds, I believe like these people have been married for 15 years. They're still deeply in love. Whatever is going on is going on, and they're talking through whatever. But like, I'm bought in.
Yeah.
And that's amazing improv. Like it's convincing.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing performance.
If you could design your like dream show, what would that be? Whether as an audience or someone playing, but if you like, let's say someone else came to you and was like, I'm directing a show, you don't have to do any of the work, I've got this idea, and you're like, oh my God, I had this, like, that's exactly what I want. What would that show be?
I kind of hate to say this, but I'm doing it with my troupe. So I've got this troupe on the side, Happily Whatever After. There's 6 of us. It's myself, it's Marie Biggs, it's Amanda Elding, it's Jen Klaus, it's Thomas Corey, and now it is Adam Bronster, who I worked with previously at Amazon. And we were just a group that was we were just coming here to practice and to go through stuff and play games and just have some time, and we're trying to figure out what we want to do. And certainly in these challenging political times, we wanted to do something that was uplifting. So a few people couldn't make it, but it was Manda, Marie, and myself sitting in my living room, and we were talking about, well, what do you want to do? And the whole troupe had agreed, like, well, I think we want to try a long form. So even in the absence of half the troupe, and Adam wasn't part of it at the time, we tossed around some ideas of like, well, what if we do like a takeoff on Drunk History, or what if we do this? And the one that stuck was, what if we find a story from an audience member that's like a minor mishap? Yeah. And then we just tell them, hey, here's how your minor mishap turned out wonderful in a alternate universe. Yeah. And I think of the long forms that I like, Kiss of a Killer, that Patty Stiles show, and which clearly followed some. The two of them have done that before. I'm sure there's a little bit of a pattern, an arc that they're following. That format of, hey, we're taking something from the audience that's very personal, and we're turning it around, and we're bringing joy.
Yeah.
And we're having an opportunity to show you, going back full circle, conflict. We're able to show you resolution. We're able to show you, maybe a little bit of silliness about it. But the right now, I think what maybe Seattle and maybe all of the United States and potentially world needs is like more joy, more uplifting stuff. So with all of the kind of downers that we're having, like, great, let's take that and turn it around and turn it into something interesting and joyous. And I'm happy with this format. We've only performed 2 shows in front of audiences. We've performed a dozen here in my basement to each other, and as we rehearsed. But there have been real moments of like, oh, I've not seen that level on stages before. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
So for me, it's all about like, how do you bring joy?
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. How about
great.
you? You've got Brothers Falstaff, and you've got your kind of the 2-3 shows I've seen have been like 3-man odd couples.
Yeah,
So
Brothers Falstaff is it's a Shakespearean show, and it really just like takes the tropes and themes and language of Shakespeare and puts it in like modern times, and it's just it's slapstick, it's sitcom, it's very fun, it's fast.
It's great.
Love it.
And like good differentiation among players, right? Like you, Tristan, Alan, different styles, and yet like you each, the way that you play off each other is really amusing.
Yeah, I love how well we're taken care of by each other.
Yes,
that's something that I really like. The show that I'm currently looking at making is a show that's about a conversation, but I want it to be I'm thinking kind of Bawal's Theater of the Oppressed, and doing some work that's like a little bit more politically and socially minded in that, and using it as like a public forum. And I've been talking with Obadiah Freeman and seeing if he wants to kind of collaborate with me on this, but creating something that's just real silly, real playful, very punk rock, very kind of raw, very hope-filled. And this idea that that art is the imagination. It's a dark mirror of society, but it also gets to be the imagination of society, and you can't create a future you haven't imagined yet. And so this idea of taking people's thoughts and wonderings and questions about like, where do we go from here, and create theater and these ideas and these dreams of like, well, maybe this is what it looks like, and let's put it on its feet instead of it just being between beers at a bar. And so wanting to create a space like that, and so that's sort of the next thing that I want to create. But I also want to create a Commedia dell'arte improv show. But that's,
tell me more about that.
Commedia dell'arte, so Commedia being this contemporary of Shakespeare, but it's all like mask work. And each one of these masks, it's this Italian like street performance style. And all these masks were a different character. And they would write these like sketches. It really was closer to sketch comedy than it was improv. But you'd get these like beats, and they'd be these 15-minute fast and furious, stupid, over-the-top shows just to catch people's attention, and then people would throw coins in. But really what you do is you'd want to keep their attention, and you do that through what you call Lazzi or Lazzo, and it's this... they'd be things that like would not even be part of like the story of like Puccinella and Harlequino trying to like Harlequino is like being all saucy with Puccinella, who's trying to like just like pick up the crumbs from the meal, and she's cleaning up, like that, and there's this like cute little banter, and then they realize maybe they're losing the audience, or probably more likely the interns are trying to pickpocket the wealthy people to get some coin, and they're like, oh, we really really need to distract them. And so then they'd have these like choreographed, like absurd, like sequences.
Right.
And that's where you get like the pie in the face or squirting water. So like a lot of modern clowning is a direct descendant from Commedia dell'arte.
Interesting.
And so taking that, I would love to do something with my partner. She's an astrologer, and so taking the astrology archetypes, or even taking like the Enneagram 9 types, and applying those to like these masks, and then the audience gets to give actors these masks, and then we create a Commedia dell'arte piece.
I want to see that.
I just think it would be big, stupid, and silly.
Yeah.
But how do you market to a general audience? Be like, yeah, you want to see something fun? How about enjoy your evening with Commedia dell'arte, general audience? You know, it's like a Marvel film. You know, like.
It's funny. There was a circling back to the almost live discussion. There's a woman I was friends with. I just haven't talked to her in a while. Who were at an art gallery, and she and I had similar discussions about like how do we expand the Seattle community to uptaking art. You know, she was very frustrated because you know, like these tech people in Seattle have tons of money, but they wouldn't spend it on art. And they were much more interested in like, I'd rather pay for a Netflix subscription and put a Marvel poster on my wall than have, you know, you called out my art collection. I have a bunch of like one-offs and originals and paintings and sculptures just because I grew up in that environment, and that's what I like, and I like surrounding myself with beauty and things that have meaning to me. But yeah, like a very similar thing. Like, how do you convince people? Like, this type of theater is, you should come out to this instead of going and watching the latest series of Succession or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah. And this is something you'll never have the opportunity to see again. It's zany and it's wild and it's outside of what you've been advertised, and yeah, like go do this instead.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when Unexpected did a production. It was an improvised Chekhov. And man, that was a sparsely attended house. Yeah. You know? But it was a great show. It was so fun. But like,
how many people showed up because they thought it was a Star Trek spinoff?
We did get some kids from Cornish who came, and they were like, I think they'd just done like a Chekhov piece, so they were like really informed about it, and so that was really fun. So they like got all like the fun sort of like nuances of it. But I mean, you know, they were regularly performing for 7 people in a 200-seat house, you know, and like, that's defeating as an artist to do that week in and week out.
And Christmas Carol is like the most popularly attended show at the Market Theater.
Yeah, and it's Mad Libs.
Yeah.
Yeah. God bless the show. Yeah. God bless the show.
It's a great show.
It's fun.
It's so fun. Like the performers are always amazing. It's fun to see what happens like weekend. That's a show I've seen a bunch of times. I think I did Tech for it a few times last year. Yeah. I'm just promoting myself to audience member this year for that show. Nice. But it's I think that's the real, like, I love talking about theory. I love talking about the experience. I love talking about the why. I mean, the core question of what I have for any type of art, and I struggle with this as a musician, is like, and I'm hoping it's part of the intent of this podcast, is like, why should people come see these things? How do we get people to come see these things? Yeah. And it's fucking interesting is the key to it, and it's connecting, and it's unique, and it's ephemeral. It's there and then it's fucking gone. Yeah. And it lives only in your memories. And I think it's a society, we spend too much time on these curated experiences. People are so afraid that they're not going to have the best, that they will forego the pretty damn good. Yeah. Yeah. I was talking with a friend just the other day, and she's like, kind of like, hasn't really seen much improv, and was kind of picking my brain about it. And I reflected that
I think there's this idea that because improv is like it happens and it never happens again, that only 100 people in the world ever saw that show.
Yeah.
That it's disposable, and that's what makes it like kind of less than worthwhile.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I don't. How about we reframe that and we say that it's so rare.
Yeah.
It's a thing of antiquity
Yeah.
that no one else will ever be able to experience that except for those 100 people, right? And like how rare is that of catching lightning in a bottle, right? The beauty of ephemera.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I think, part of what I'm hoping out of this podcast that we have is that because improv, I mean, just by the medium of it is a thing of ephemera, and there are so many incredible teachers and incredible performers who do it, and then they get to the top, and then they're like, all right, I've peaked at this thing that doesn't really give back all the time.
Yeah.
And they kind of go, well, what's next? And there's these amazing insights that are all over the world.
Yeah.
How do we capture such a spoken word and a word of mouth art form into something to where we give honor and credence? And Seattle has such a wealth of history with Unexpected Productions being a company since 1984, 1983. 1983. Yeah.
I don't know. I've only been there 3 years.
Yeah, 1983.
You tell me, old man.
Yeah. Well, when I started. No, that's actually funny. We had a 30-year anniversary picture, and I'm like just this young little piece of shit kid in that picture in the market, and that was charming. It's up on it's in one of the classrooms, and I was like, oh my god, look,
it's on the second floor,
all my old friends
in the north building, the big room.
Yeah.
Yes, because I've looked at some of the performers in that, and I'm like, wow, okay, they were younger.
Yep. Yeah, we were younger. But yeah, just the how much the Pacific Northwest has this wealth, and its relationship to Portland, its relationship to Vancouver and Victoria, its relationship to Alaska, and like all the different communities who've come here to learn improv in the Pacific Northwest, and then gone out to then bring those things to their communities in the same way that people from here go out and learn so uniquely and specifically from other communities, and just wanting to create a space where that's documented, that improvisers can live on, and the words of people who have taught and had our own unique lens of improv can have little echoes.
Yeah.
And something that I think Randy Dixon was very specific about doing was shielding the Pacific Northwest, and it's sort of this cascade like shadow almost from, I mean, a lot of the Second City influence that has changed the improv landscape, and then the UCB influence that really that's put such a thumbprint on so many communities. I think Randy was very, very specific about saying, no, let's preserve our style of improv, and just wanting to take the work that he did of that preservation and say, I want to honor that. As someone who's a student of Randy, and loves the work that he's done, and seeing like, we have something really unique and special here in the Pacific Northwest. And wanting to just honor that.
It's the zeitgeist of the region.
There we are. We found it, baby.
Yeah, we did.
We found it.
Only took an hour and a half.
Awesome. Well,
Chazz, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. How fun. I could talk with you for an hour and a half more, and I'm sure we've got the rest of a bottle of wine, so I'm sure we will.
There's whiskey too.
Hey, now you're singing my song.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'm just so honored to have your perspective as an artist. We didn't even get to your experience as a technician, so we'll have to bring on some tech improvisers.
You press the buttons, the lights go on, the lights come off.
Oh, okay.
That's how it works.
Finished that one. Okay,
Yep.
now we could skip those on.
There's a sign in the tech booth that reads, "Your job is to end the scene."
Yeah.
That's it.
Boy, isn't
Bring
it?
those lights down.
Yeah, so just getting your experience, your understanding as an artist is just like so valuable, and I'm so glad to have you as my co-host for Cascade Improv Podcast.
Yeah, what a pleasure to have my 400 level teacher who's become a friend here, and I've learned so much from you, and I continue to learn a bunch from you. So I'm looking forward to our next guest.
Yeah,
and keep doing this.
Awesome. All right. Well, then we'll see you the next time we drop the podcast.
Take care.
Never have
Bye.
to look back now. Ooh, yeah.
The Cascade Improv Podcast is produced by Paul Furio and Chazz Kaskes. Musical backing is provided by Anomi Bell, whose music can be found online at anomibell.bandcamp.com.